Hello. So today I want to talk about permitted development. There's been a few changes on this recently with legislation, etc. And we seem to be getting more inquiries around this, where there's the potential to take properties and not have the need to go through full planning permission, which can really speed up the process of converting, say, commercial properties to residential. So today I just want to go through detail about what permitted development is, and then sort of talk about examples around how you can raise finance for it. So let's get into this. So, permitted development. So, what is it exactly? So, under permitted development, you can carry out certain types of work without the need for full planning permission. So, the works that can be carried out within permitted development will need to meet a certain standard and criteria. So, for example, there is a maximum size of an extension that you can put on a property. It's worth noting that permitted development rules can be different in different countries. So England rules, for example, can be different to Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland. So just be very careful on that. But say today we're specifically talking about permitted development rights within England. So, what can you do? So, here's an example really. So, on a rear extension to a property, you can do a single story or a two-story rear extension can come out 3 meters for a terraced and semi detached property and by 4 meters for a detached house. And another example here is around the change of use. So, where you've got commercial properties, which are most are classed as Class E, you can convert most of these commercial properties, such as offices, restaurants, shops, doctor surgeries, etc., could be converted into residential properties using a process known as Class MA. Now, this does require approval from the local planning authority. And so there has been some updated development rules as well recently that only come into force on the 5th of March, this 2024. So they've actually removed the previous upper limit of this floor space. So the floor space limit was previously 1,500 square meters. That's actually been removed now. So that opens up the door to possibly a lot more commercial properties to fall under permitted development rights. And also, they've removed the need for the property to be vacant for 3 months prior to the application being submitted. So effectively, you could, buy a commercial property, then you could then make this application to permitted development. Now, it's always worth speaking to your local planning officers because obviously things can change. And obviously, when the property does fall under permitted development, that doesn't stop the need for paperwork to be provided in order for you to get, for example, building regulations, sign off, etc. All right. But say where I say on permitted development, what is not possible? So, permitted development rights would not be possible on listed buildings, properties located in like national parks, conservation areas, and World Heritage sites. Where the local authority has issued an Article 4 direction in the area. Um, if you want to, example, add an extension to your ground floor flat, that would not fall under permitted development. Where you've had some newer homes built, and as a result of planning consent, there's sort of stricter rules around any further permitted development. Where the property has already used up some or all of its permitted development rights, you can't go any further. And if you want to convert a property into a HMO, for example, you would need full planning for that. So let's sort of talk now around about financing these type of transactions. So if you're buying a property, typically on a bridging loan, we would be looking to raise you a net day one of about 65 to 68% of the purchase price. And that's assuming you will be rolling the monthly payments into the loan. Now, if you're going to make the monthly payments yourself, and what we call that is servicing it, you can do that and you can actually borrow a bit more money day one, but that will be subject to a full affordability assessment. But say standard on most plans, you're looking at net 65 to 68% day one from a lender based upon a purchase price and only on that security. Now, what you can also do is you actually can borrow up to 100% of the refurbishment costs, depending upon the sort of final GDV. So if you've got a commercial property that you do intend to convert into residential, then all that refurbishment cost you could borrow towards as well. Now, this refurbishment money is paid in stages and paid in arrears. So, you would have to fund the initial stage, and then an asset manager or quantity surveyor would come and visit the property. It depends upon the level of works who would come out. They would confirm the works have been done, review invoices, etc., and then provide a report to the lender. And then the lender then releases the money to you for you to then go on to the next stage. And obviously, that would happen for another two or three stages, whatever's been agreed at the outset. Um, and say the typical associated costs are: you've got lenders fees, you've got the legal fees, you've got the monthly interest that's being charged, you've got application fees, you've got broker fees, valuation fees, exit fees, for example. They're typical costs that are involved, but certainly, be fully aware of all these with your broker when you firstly sort of discussing this type of application. So let's talk about an example case here. So we've got a property here, purchase price of £350,000, which is a commercial property. And the plan is to convert this into 4 residential flats, and that will be a conversion cost of £190,000. And the estimated final GDV is £800,000. So, what would an example quote kind of look like from a finance point of view? So, this is what I've sort of put together as an example. We could raise 67% net towards the actual purchase price, and we could raise 100% of the actual conversion costs, which is 190,000. And as I mentioned, this will be paid in stages and in arrears. You could do a term of 12 months, looking at a typical rate of 0.79% per month. But obviously, that's subject to change depending upon people's experience, etc. A lender arrangement fee of 2%, and there's no sort of exit or early redemption fees payable. So let's say, for example, you buy the property, you do the conversion, and you're able to sell the units within 9 months, for example, then you're only charged interest for that 9-month period. You can redeem it early. Okay. Now, obviously, when it comes to borrowing money, your capital is always at risk if you don't keep to the terms of the agreement. Now, this is obviously an example quote here. So, our job as a broker, we're not a lender, we're a broker. We take the situation from clients. We then go out to many lenders that we've got a good relationship in place and come back to you with an idea of terms of how to help you fund, your project specifically. So additional sort of points here, when it comes to the actual stage payments for refurbishments, lenders do have sort of minimums. So it might be a minimum of 15,000 or 25,000 or 50,000 might be the initial drawdown. That's the sort of minimum. So you've got to fund that first part of it yourself, and then you can then go to the lender and obviously look to try and get that back. Once they've done their assessment, etc. To request the refurbishment money, and I mentioned this earlier, obviously an asset manager comes to visit the property, or if there's a lot of heavy works involved, it could be a quantity surveyor. Every time they visit the site, there'll be more than likely a cost involved. So this could be a cost that you pay each time, or with some lenders, they may charge a one-off fee, which could be added to the loan at the start. So just be fully aware of when these costs are payable and what they are. And lenders will calculate how much they're willing to lend you towards this refurbishment cost based upon the final GDV figure that you're working towards. So some may cap it at 65%, where some lenders may go up to 75%. So our job as a broker, again, is to go find the right solution for you that helps you achieve your goals. And finally, just if you have got a refurbishment facility set up for 150,000, but you only need to draw down 100,000, you're only charged interest on the money you use. So if you only draw 100,000 down, you're only charged interest on that 100,000. Although it's worth noting that when we initially set up the whole facility, the lender's arrangement fee, which is normally like, say, a percentage based, that is based upon the whole facility that is initially set up. So I'd say I just want to do this because I get more inquiries around permitted development recently. So hopefully that explains what permitted development is, some of the changes that have taken place, and how we can help raising finance on that. If you do want more information, I'll put a link below to our webpage where you can fill out your contact details, etc. if just for note as well, obviously us as a company, as a broker, we do organise other types of finance, buy-to-let mortgages, including holiday lets and HMOs, etc., and sort of semi and commercial mortgages as well. And there's a couple of links here that I visited to sort of get advice around what the rules and that are, obviously, before making this sort of video. So anyway, hope that's been helpful, and yeah, all the best.